Hi, this is Lauren. Welcome back to my craft room. It's time for another big batch of birthday cards. As I have been using the previous months, I'm using Crafty Owl's sheetload of cards. This is from June 2022. This has her YouTube channel on it, but of course I will link it down below in my description so you can check out her channel and figure out how you can get a copy of her sheetload instructions as well. So I've already cut and scored all of my cardstock and pattern paper to the dimensions from her instructions. As I have been saying in my previous videos, this is a time for me to use up that pattern paper that I've been hoarding in my stash. So while my pattern paper is no longer available, I did still note it down in my um, supply list, but again, it's retired. You won't be able to get it, but you can definitely replicate these cards just using some pattern paper in your own stash. This is just a way for me to make a big batch of cards and also use up my paper since I keep buying it. So I need to use up my old stuff. So I am now gluing together one set of my cards. As I showed just a bit ago, I have two different color schemes going on. The first one is yellow, a pale, kind of a taupe brown color, and pink. And then my other group is the same yellow and taupe gray color, but this one, it has also some blue and green in it. So this is a really beautiful paper pack. It was by Stampin' Up and it is called Lullaby. But again, use what's in your stash for these cards. It's such a great way to use up those pattern papers that you haven't been able to let yourself go and use yet. So here is what the pink and yellow card looks like, and then I put together the green, blue, and yellow card. So there are my two different color schemes. I'm going to be using the brand new Pool Party stamp set from Fawn and also one of my Simply Wavy banner dies to cut out my sentiment strip. I also took one of the sentiments from that stamp set that says just floating by to say, and I curved it so it would fit onto my wavy banner. And I'm using VersaFine in Onyx Black, which is my go-to ink for stamping sentiments because I know I'll get a nice, clean, crisp sentiment stamp the first time. So that's what it will look like onto my card. And now we can move on to the cute little images. So I've die cut some waves, my little sentiment bubble. I'm not going to do any coloring on those, so I put those aside. And then for the other items I'm coloring, I'm just going to grab a piece of my scrapbook.com mint tape and put my images on there so I can zoom into my coloring and show you a little bit. I'm going super fast here and jumping from color to color. But my little sloths are colored in with Spectrum Noir illustrators in the MB family. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm starting with my darker colors and moving into my light. My sloth body has 4, 3, and 2, and then his face has 2 and 1. So those are my little sloths. Of course, got to give them some peachy cheeks, and then using the darkest color to add a little bit of dots just around my images for my critters to give them a little bit more lifelike color. I colored into my little water droplets with a blue color, and then I'm moving on to my little floaties. So both of the cards have yellow, so I'm using GY3 and 2 to color in the yellow on my little floaties. And then I'm using my AB1 and 2 to color in the blue, which is also the same for the water. And then for my green, I'm using LG1 and 3 to color in that kind of mint green color. And then finally for the pink on my inner tube, since it's just pink and yellow and that kind of brownishy gray color, I did pink twice. Well, coral colors, I did CR5 and 3, and that will finish off the coloring of my images. So let's start putting together our cards. I'm going to start with my sentiment strips. I'm going to just use some foam strips to adhere them down to the bottom, my little wavy banners. I really like this fun fold that Crafty Owl did for this month. It's just really unique. It's been a while since I've done something like this, so it was exciting to create something. It's still A2 size, but a little different than A2. So I went ahead and added a strip to make sure that it wouldn't go off the edges of that center brown taupe colored flap, and then applying my banner to the bottom part of that piece. And then I'm going to build up my scene on top of my sentiment. So I have my two little wave pieces, I have my little splash, my sloth who will be sitting in its little inner tube, and then a little sentiment bubble that says Happy B-Day inside of it. So the full sentiment is just floating by to say Happy B-Day. And then I will stamp something on the inside. I didn't do it on this video. I just wanted to show how I put together my version of the layout for this month, but I still need to figure out an inside sentiment, of course. So once I have my layout kind of how I want it to go, I'm just going to pick up using my tweezers and add in the water, the little water waves, and those are getting glued directly to the card base. And then I'm going to pop up my little inner tube as well as my little sentiment. So I'm going to use some tiny foam adhesive around my little inner tube circle. I'll pull off the release paper, and then I'm going to use my grid mat to try and center my little inner tube as best as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I just like having my images centered when my sentiment is also centered like this. So did my best, and then I added another foam adhesive on the inside of my little inner tube and placed my relaxing sloth. And then, like I said, I will also pop up my sentiment bubble. And then I didn't really want to deal with having to pop up my tiny little splash. So again, grabbing my tweezers in a moment here and just adding some wet glue and adding that to my scene as well. So now that I finished my layout for my first card, I know I can easily lay out my second card. So I'm just going to skip through that, and that will finish off my version of Crafty Owl's sheet load of cards for June. Here are my two different designs. Very similar layout, obviously, but with a different pattern paper and color scheme. Here is a close-up of my cute little relaxing sloths. I hope that you liked my take on this sketch and you try it out for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!